It began as just another ordinary day at work, until it wasn't. A young woman in Charlotte, full of ambition and plans for the future, never saw the danger lurking just steps away. Within minutes, the familiar hum of an office turned into chaos, shattered by 5 deafening gunshots. But what triggered such a ruthless act? And why did her coworker believe she had to pay with her life? This isn't just a workplace dispute. It's a chilling story of trust, betrayal, and a decision that changed everything. Don't miss out on the next chilling mystery. Hit subscribe and tap the bell icon so you're the first to know when new stories drop. Charlotte, North Carolina. A bustling city where skyscrapers rise above tree-lined streets and ambition fuels the heartbeat of daily life. For 28-year-old Jocelyn Horn, the city wasn't just where she worked, it was where she dreamed. Colleagues knew her as sharp, reliable, the kind of woman who arrived early, stayed late, and carried herself with quiet determination. At her job, she was the dependable one, the voice of calm in stressful meetings, the coworker who seemed destined for promotion. To outsiders, nothing appeared out of place. Yet beneath the fluorescent glow of that office, tension had been building, invisible to most, but heavy enough to crack through the surface. There was one coworker who seemed increasingly unsettled by her presence. A man who had once blended into the background now watched her every move with a mix of envy and resentment. While others admired her, he seemed to grow darker, quieter, and harder to read. In the weeks leading up to that fateful morning, subtle warning signs had surfaced. Strange looks across the office, clipped conversations, moments that should have been insignificant, but left Jocelyn uneasy. Still, she brushed them off. After all, this was work, not some crime thriller. But what she couldn't know was that someone close to her had already made a decision, one that would end in violence. The stage was set. The players were in place. And the ordinary life Jocelyn had built was about to shatter in ways no one could have predicted. The unease inside that office was subtle at first, hard to name, easy to dismiss. But the more time passed, the more undeniable it became. Colleagues whispered about strange encounters, late-night emails sent with an edge of hostility, awkward silences that stretched too long, and moments when Jocelyn would catch him staring, his eyes cold and unblinking. She told a close friend that she felt like she was being watched. Not in the way coworkers casually observe one another, but in a way that made her skin crawl. Still, she pressed forward, determined not to let paranoia derail her goals. She had worked too hard to get where she was. Behind closed doors, however, that same coworker's world was unraveling. Financial troubles, personal disappointments, and the crushing weight of unmet expectations seemed to collide all at once. And in his mind, Jocelyn wasn't just a coworker. She was the obstacle standing in his way. Coworkers began noticing his temper flare over the smallest th. A missed email, a project reassignment, a casual remark that seemed harmless to everyone else but struck him like an insult. He grew quieter in meetings, his eyes burning with a mix of envy and suppressed rage. One Friday afternoon, he lingered long after everyone had gone home. Security footage later revealed him pacing the empty halls, staring at Jocelyn's desk, and sitting motionless for nearly an hour before finally leaving. No one knew why he was there. No one asked. But it was a chilling glimpse into a storm already brewing. Jocelyn, meanwhile, began to notice more unsettling details. The way he hovered near her desk with no reason to be there. The silence that fell when she entered the break room. The occasional rumor whispered just loud enough for her to hear. It was as if the walls of her workplace were closing in, and yet she had no proof, no way to fight back without seeming paranoid. The atmosphere grew suffocating. Some coworkers brushed it off as office drama. Ott sensed something darker, but they stayed silent. After all, this was an office. What's the worst that could happen? But the truth was far more dangerous than anyone imagined. And with each passing day, The gap between suspicion and violence was closing fast. The morning it happened, nothing seemed unusual. Employees filed in, the low hum of keyboards and phones filling the air. Jocelyn settled into her routine, coffee steaming on her desk, emails open, a list of tasks neatly organized. To her, it was just another day. But for him, it was the day he had chosen. Hidden beneath the ordinary surface, he carried a storm of resentment that had been festering for months. That morning, he didn't come to work with plans or spreadsheets. He came armed with something else entirely. At 10:12 a.m., the silence was broken by the sharp crack of a gun. Panic rippled through the office. 5 shots in quick succession, each one louder, more final than the last. Coworkers screamed, scattering for cover, their world collapsing in an instant. Jocelyn had no chance to run, no chance to plead. The coworker who once sat just feet away now stood over her. His decision carried out in cold, calculated violence. In those seconds, every subtle warning sign, every uneasy glance, and every moment of tension had converged into one unthinkable act. When police stormed the building minutes later, they found chaos. Papers strewn across the floor, coffee spilled and cooling, coworkers huddled in shock. And in the center of it all lay the brutal truth. A young woman's life cut short, not by chance, but by someone she had once trusted to share the same space, the same hours, the same ordinary days. It wasn't random, it wasn't sudden. It had been building in silence, until silence shattered. In the days that followed, Charlotte was left reeling. News crews crowded the office complex. Headlines replayed the same chilling details, and coworkers struggled to piece together how ordinary life could shatter so suddenly. For Jocelyn's family, the grief was indescribable. A daughter, a sister, a friend, taken in the very place where she was supposed to feel safe. The man responsible was arrested at the scene without resistance. In court, prosecutors painted the picture of a calculated act born from jealousy and bitterness. He showed little emotion as charges were read, his silence almost as unnerving as the crime itself. Eventually, justice was served, but no sentence could fill the void left behind. For her coworkers, the office never felt the same again. The hum of computers and phones carried an invisible weight, a constant reminder that danger had once lived just a few steps away. Many left the company altogether, unable to walk those hallways without hearing echoes of the morning. And even today, questions linger. Could someone have stopped it? Did the warning signs go unnoticed or worse, ignored? For every person touched by Jocelyn's story, the haunting truth remains. Sometimes the greatest danger isn't a stranger in the dark, but the person sitting right beside you. In the end, Jocelyn's story is not just about a single act of violence. It's about the fragile line between ordinary life and unthinkable tragedy. A woman walked into her workplace with plans for the future, never knowing that someone she saw every day had already decided to take it all away. Her family lives with a loss that time cannot erase. Her coworkers carry the weight of unanswered questions, wondering if there was a moment, just one, that could have changed the outcome. And for the city of Charlotte, the memory of that day remains a chilling reminder of how quickly safety can be shattered. Workplaces are built on trust. Trust that the people beside us share the same goals. Trust that tomorrow will look like today. But Jocelyn's story asks a haunting question. How well do we really know the people we sit beside? Because sometimes the greatest danger doesn't come from the shadows outside, but from the quiet rage festering just a few feet away. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.